I'll make my Super Bowl pick coming up on Thursday. Peter King has already made his public. NBCSports.com NFL columnist, and, of course, the column Football Morning in America. Do we do a drum roll here, Pete, for your Super Bowl prediction?
No, I think we do an air coming out of the balloon and a sad clown face. That's what we do for this pick.
Do you already want to redo on your Super Bowl pick?
Oh, no, I'm very happy with my Super Bowl pick. Nobody else is, but I'm quite happy.
All right.
And look, Dan, the Kansas City Chiefs, have had a perfect offseason. Perfect. With the exception of Duvernay Tardif, opting out at guard, which is pretty natural. You can't be a doctor in the middle of a pandemic or whatever his title is and just say, hey, I'm going to go play football now. But, I mean, they got 20 of 22 starters back, 20 of 21 coaches. It just they could be in for the long haul, for the next 10 years being a Super Bowl contender. But, we could say that about a lot of teams in the recent past, and 15 consecutive teams have not repeated. So although on September 8th, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team, I didn't go with them. I went with Tampa Bay over Baltimore. And, the Tampa Bay thing is weird. I get it. But I've been on the Tampa Bay bandwagon since the day Brady signed because, Dan, look, the Bucs turned it over 41 times last year. The last team to turn it over 41 times or more was Cleveland, the year they went 0-16. And so for them to have won 7 games, and they should have won 9, because the last 2 games, Winston threw 6 interceptions. And, all they need is an efficient quarterback to be pretty good. And I think they have better than an efficient quarterback.
What concerns do you have with Tampa?
That except for Brady and Gronk, none of them have ever played deep into January. Or relatively none of them. I haven't checked the roster, but obviously they're an inexperienced team that hasn't won deep into January. That would definitely concern me. But does it concern me enough to not pick them? No, not at all.
What about Baltimore? What concerns do you have?
Baltimore, the biggest concern I have, I guess, is that we have not seen Lamar Jackson twice in the postseason play a good game. He's lost 2 games that they were favored to win at home, and he has not played well in either game. So he's got to do that. But, as I wrote, I said 2 games do not a trend make, at least in my opinion. Now, I still need to see him do it, but I think their weaponry is fantastic. If possible, they could be even better running the ball with J.K. Dobbins and Ingram, because J.K. Dobbins, to me, getting picked 55th or whatever he was picked was, what a gift for the Ravens still to be able to get him late in the second round.
Your surprise playoff teams. Let's start with the NFC. Do you have a surprise?
I'd say Detroit. Look, halfway through the season, the Lions were 4th in the NFL in total offense. They have a great receiver group. They got Stafford. And then Stafford gets hurt, and the air goes out of the balloon. So, I think that they've got a chance with some defensive reinforcements in free agency to be the second best team in their division. I think they got a chance to be better than Green Bay. I'm not positive, but I did pick that. And in the AFC, I picked the Raiders. I just think Mike Mayock has totally gone to town trying to build the best team that college football has to offer. How many picks has he made? I'd have to count them up. It's like 10 or 11 in the last 2 drafts from great college programs. I'm not talking about in the 7th round either. He's put his reputation on the line with guys who have played great in college at the best programs. And I'm kind of gambling that plus the speed of Henry Ruggs gives them 9 or 10 wins and gives them a playoff spot.
Finish this sentence. If the Packers don't make the playoffs.
It depends how Aaron Rodgers plays. I think he's going to play well. But if he plays poorly, obviously they'll be motivated to try to trade him. Brian Gutekunst, and again, I think he's a bright young general manager, and I don't hate that he picked Jordan Love. I hate that he didn't give Aaron Rodgers any reinforcements at wide receiver. I simply don't understand it. Aaron Rodgers has to look at some of these teams. I mean, imagine what he thinks when he looks at the weapons that Brady has. I mean, other than Devontae Adams, he has none of those. And so Aaron Rodgers still could play great, and I don't think they would trade him. But if he plays poorly and they win 6 games, I would say somebody can probably come and get Aaron Rodgers.
More likely to make the playoffs, the Rams or Chargers?
I would say the Rams, just because, I mean, both of them. Look, when's the last time we could have said, and I'm not positive about this, but both Western divisions could be the best division in each of their conference. I that's horrible grammar, language, whatever. But the AFC West and NFC West could be the 2 best teams and best divisions in football. And I just think right now, I like what the Rams can do offensively just a little bit more, even though I love Austin Eckler and I like the weapons, but Mike Williams enters the season damaged for the Chargers. That's a really good question, Dan, but if I had to pick one team to win 9 games, I would pick the Rams.
It's no secret Jacksonville's tanking?
I don't know how you tank in the NFL. I mean, didn't everybody 1 year ago today say, well, Chris Greer, Brian Flores, they're tanking in Miami? Well, they had a better record than New England after Halloween. So I don't, Gardner Minshew is not going to get called into Dave Caldwell's office, the general manager, and Caldwell say, hey, listen, we'll take care of you this year. But when you're ahead late, don't necessarily play great. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. Now, I understand that the Jaguars, are bereft of a lot of talent, but you never can tell what's going to happen during the course of an NFL season. Would anybody have said that the Dolphins would have been over 500 after Halloween? I certainly wouldn't have. And so that's why you can set yourself up for a prime draft pick, but to say, yep, we're trying to get that first pick in Trevor Lawrence, I think it's relatively impossible.
Let me go back to Miami. You got Miami making the playoffs.
I like Miami this year. I like, I like a lot of the young talent that they have. I think they're going to be lifted on defense with 2 great acquisitions in Kyle Van Noy and Byron Jones. Again, so much of this depends on how Fitzpatrick plays and when Tua plays. And I don't think anybody can predict that. But right now, I think they're an intriguing team. And it's like what Parcells used to say, I go by what I see. And what I saw late last year was a team that had a rock rib defense, got better on defense, and I think is going to be good enough on offense. Not great, but good enough.
Cam in New England. You got Patriots making the playoffs?
I don't. No, but obviously it won't surprise me. It won't surprise me if the Patriots win the division. I think New England, Buffalo, or Miami, any of those 3 could win the division. But I picked Miami to win it. I picked Buffalo to be a wild card, and I'd put New England out of it. Look, I get that Cam is a great new weapon for them, an incredibly opportunistic pick for late June to be able to get this guy to be your quarterback. But a couple of things haven't changed. They lost all 4 starting linebackers. They're relying largely on the unknown at linebacker, a vital, vital position in Bill Belichick's defense. And then, they still have, relatively speaking, a bottom of the league, a bottom quartile receiver group, tight ends and wide receivers. So, how have they improved what Pro Football Focus thought was the worst receiver group in football last year? I mean, where is it? They haven't really, they've added a couple of rookie tight ends, but to me, they still have a lot of questions to answer on offense.
How do you feel about Phillip Rivers leading the Colts?
Love it. Really love it. I think he's going to play well, and I think one of the reasons he'll play well is that Frank Reich and the offensive coordinator, Nick Sirianni, are going to put a game plan together every week that says this offense is as much about Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor as it is about Phillip Rivers. But I think Rivers will play well. He won't feel the same sort of pressure, I believe, as he felt in San Diego and then Los Angeles the last couple of years. I think that running game could be special in Indianapolis.
He's Peter King, NBCSports.com NFL columnist, and, of course, his column Must Read Football Morning in America. But he's so much more than that, revealing that when he was at Ohio University, he smoked a doobie with the Doobie Brothers. Do you want to explain that, Pete?
Of course, yeah. In my senior year, we took turns on the staff of the school paper, the Post at Ohio University. We took turns covering the concerts when they came into town. There were 3 or 4 of them every year. Billy Joel came once, whatever. But so the Doobies were there, and I really liked the Doobie Brothers. So the year I was managing editor of the paper that year, so I glommed onto that assignment. And I asked security if after the show I could interview Michael McDonald and Skunk Baxter backstage. And so I fully expected them to say no. And after the concert, they took me backstage. I talked to Michael McDonald and Skunk Baxter, and there was like 8 people standing in a circle backstage at the Convocation Center in Athens, Ohio. And I just joined the circle, passing around a joint. So that's the night I smoked a doobie with the Doobie Brothers and interviewed Skunk Baxter and Michael McDonald.
Is there a chance you'll be put on the commissioner's exempt list for admitting that you smoked?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. You know what? I need an image booster. And if I'm seen as a weed head, I think that would really help my image in public, Dan.
You're a pothead, Fokker.
I can't do it. Dan, I can't do it anymore. I haven't done it since a little bit after college, but I don't know. I just get that fast heartbeat. I just didn't appeal to me anymore.
Adam Schefter just reported that you've been put on the commissioner's exempt list. Wow, that was quick. Breaking
all
news.
Right.
Yeah.
Shefty.
Good to talk to you, Pete. We appreciate your time, and good luck with your Super Bowl picks. I agonize over this every year. Like, I wait until the last possible second. I talk myself in.
I do, too.
And I talk myself out of things.
I do, too. But I actually have done pretty well in recent years. The last 8 or 9 years, I've been close on quite a few. And last year, I had 3 of the final 4 and whatever. So or 2 years ago, rather. And so, I don't know. Look, the other thing is, Dan, have fun with it. Make people pick some team that nobody is picking because there's a decent chance that's going to happen.
Not Jacksonville.
No, don't pick Jacksonville.
Okay, I won't pick Jacksonville.
But you know what? Pick Tennessee. You know what? I really, really like Tennessee. I don't know. I think Tannehill is going to have another year where he steers the ship right. I love Jonnu Smith at tight end. I love Arthur Smith as a play caller. I think they're going to be good again. And adding Jadeveon Clowney, although I think he's a bit overhyped, I think that's a real good ad for them.
Yeah, I like the I like that. I like Vrabel. I think there are teams that kind of embody their coach, and that certainly is the
Dan,
case.
let me tell you one quick thing before we get out. This was one of the coolest things. I had a very abbreviated training camp trip. Only saw 4 teams. But the coolest thing I saw was Mike Vrabel looking like a high school football coach, standing in the middle of the field, blowing the whistle for sprints. That's what a high school football coach does. It wasn't the strength and conditioning guy. It was Mike Vrabel. Lines of guys, on the end line. One group would go, blow the whistle. The next group goes, blow the whistle. And Vrabel talking to him the whole time. It was just, you see things like that and you say, man, that is a guy who runs everything in this program.
Put on China Grove and spark up, Peter. We appreciate your time. Thank you, bud.
Take care, Dan.
That's Peter King. Doobie.